In this video, I'm going to talk about ways that you can create a positive team culture in softball. So if you're new here, I'm Coach Dan Blewett. I'm a former pro baseball player. I also owned a baseball and softball academy for 9 years, and we had our own baseball teams and travel softball teams. And as I look back on the culture that we created, there's a lot of things I'm really proud of, and there's also a lot of things that if I were to start another academy or be a coach again in the future of a team, which I'm sure I will, some new things that I will integrate and start doing, right? So I think we all have room to grow as coaches. And so hopefully you learn a couple things in this video that can help you improve your team culture. And after all, your team culture, it can always move forward by things that you stop doing, things that you start doing, and things that you keep doing, right? So hopefully you'll reflect during this video and find things like, hey, I like what we've been doing. I want to add a little bit of this, or maybe we're going to ease off and maybe stop doing some of this other stuff. But overall, team culture is super important. And this is how you get the most from your players. This is how you give players this really amazing sports experience where they feel a sense of belonging and purpose, and they're excited to come to practice. And all these things mesh together because if your players are excited to come to practice, guess what? They're going to work really hard, they're going to support each other, and you're going to win a lot of games. So all these things dovetail together. All right, so number one, you need to define your team's mission and your core values. So what are your core values? Could be we have great sportsmanship. We always hustle. We work really hard. We pick each other up. We're very positive, right? We're the fastest team out there. Whatever it is, you want to define what those core values are. And when you can continue to harp on those and reinforce those in a positive way, when players fall short, like say players are ragging on each other or being kind of harsh, or they're not picking each other up, they're starting to squabble and not taking accountability, we can say, no. Remember, our team's core values, we take responsibility for our failures. We learn from failure. We're not afraid of it. We're a team that picks each other up. We're a team that works hard. And we're a team that fights until the very last out. Whatever your team's core values are, and you can have your players help pick these, obviously, you can always point back to that as a fundamental, foundational piece of your culture. And when you don't have this defined and your players don't know what this is, what is our foundation, what are our core values, it's hard to point back to them. So having a talk with your players and definitely involving your players and letting the parents know these are our 5 or 6 or 10 really fundamental core values, then again, you can reinforce them. Everyone helps keep the culture and everyone is accountable to each other in reflecting those values. Number 2, in creating an amazing softball team culture is, as a coach, you've got to be the number one carrier and rewarder of those team values. So what you reward as a coach is what you're going to get. So if you say, hey, we're a team, we're going to take chances and we're going to go 110% and we're going to do hard things and try and learn hard things, well, are you also going to allow your kids to fail? And how are you going to approach them when they fall short? If you're teaching them to make, fun plays as infielders and make those tough throws, well, do you get on them when they make a bad throw? Or do you say, hey, bad throw, but let's keep learning, let's keep practicing, right? How do you deal with those things? How do you deal with failure? What do you reward as a coach? If I'm teaching kids to do really hard things, I know they're going to fail at it more often. So I'm going to reward effort. I'm going to reward attitude. I'm going to reward them picking each other up when they're trying really tough stuff and they're not doing their best, but they know they're going to get better if they stick with it, right? So as a coach, you've got to model and you've got to reward the culture that you want. So effort, attitude, intensity, focus, good sportsmanship, you reward those and point them out and say, hey, I love when you picked your teammate up after that strikeout, or hey, I know we had a tough inning, but you kept battling to the very last out. When you do those publicly in front of everyone, that's how you continue to say, okay, I can go out there and even if I'm getting beat, I can still work really hard and coach will see it and my teammates will see it and they'll be there for me, right? So you want positive reinforcement with the culture that you keep. And then also as a coach, if you want, hey, we're a positive team, we're a team that encourages, we're a team that plays the game the right way, how do you speak to umpires? How do you speak to opposing teams? How do you behave when another team is heckling you and the other team is behaving terribly, right? Do you still behave respectfully towards that team? Or do you lower yourself and you start getting back and forth and start jawing with the other team and the other coaches? Or you allow your players to do that, right? So what do you model and what do you reward and what do you reinforce as a coach is a huge part of making that mission statement and those core values actually come to life. Next, you want to foster a sense of belonging in your team. I'll give you an example. When I was in pro baseball, we had basically like the team would kind of separate out into cliques by ethnicity, really, not because there was any racism or anything like that, but just because there were a lot of players that came from Latin America and they spoke Spanish and they kind of hung out with each other, right? And then the white and the black guys, the American guys, we kind of hung out with each other. And there's always like this divide in our clubhouse that I think all of us kind of regretted. And it wasn't that we didn't like each other. We just didn't really know how to connect. And looking back, I think if we had had coaches who'd say, hey, you know, at the beginning of the season, we're all going to come together and we're all going to talk about comfort foods from home, right? So maybe it's, you know, who knows what, you know, if you're from Connecticut, maybe a lobster roll is your comfort food. If you're from Colombia, what is your comfort food, right? We all have comfort foods no matter where we come from. Food means so much to us, right? We all have our different, religions, what was our experience with school, our little habits, what do we do for fun, what other sports do we play? There's all these different things that we could touch on, right? And so the question is, how can we bring teams together where everyone feels like they belong and we all feel like we know each other a little bit more deeply rather than just like we're all a bunch of softball players here to play this game. Players are going to be from the local community most of the times, but even then there's so many differences and similarities that if we can do some of these activities to bring us together to create this deeper sense of trust and knowledge of each other, that creates a really sense of like, I love this team and I love being here. I know them. I trust them. I want to hang out with them. I want to win with them and I want to lose with them and I want to grow with them, right? So as a coach, see about creating this sense of belonging, this sense of inclusion, where everyone is like, I can't wait to go be with my girls, be with my boys of the team, whatever. That's what you want as a coach. So finding ways to do team building exercises, especially early on, it's really, really worth it. And again, that's something I wish we'd had more of. And when I'm in a head coaching role more in the future, when I get back into coaching teams, that's something that I'm going to heavily prioritize. I want everyone to know a lot about each other, where we come from, who we are, beyond just the fact that we're all here playing softball or playing baseball. Real quick, if you enjoy my videos here on YouTube, check out the join button below. You'll learn about my channel memberships, where you'll get access to hundreds of videos not publicly visible here on YouTube, and tons of other free perks. So check out the join button below, and I hope to see you here as a channel member. Next thing in creating a great team culture is helping players understand that leadership comes in lots of different shapes and sizes and flavors. So you don't have to be just a vocal, like, hey, everyone get up, line up, and let's start our drills, coach needs your attention. Being a vocal leader is important. I think every team always has like a handful, right? One or two maybe, who are okay stepping into that role of like, hey, on the line, coach is ready, we need to start stretching, whatever it is. That's a vocal leader, right? That was not my leadership style. I was more of like a pace setter. I'm more introverted, even though I do YouTube for a living. So when I was on a team, I was quieter. I was happy to defer to the vocal leaders, but like no one was going to work harder than me. If we were doing conditioning drills, no one was going to run harder than me. So I was kind of always setting the tone. Like, Dan, if you want to look to how hard should someone work, you could look to Dan. You could look to other players on the team too. I certainly wasn't the only hard worker, but like that was my thing. I would set the pace and I was proud of that. I was going to crush it and grit it out and work really, really hard. You will have players who are like the hype man, the hype woman, right? Someone who really just gets the energy up when the team needs to rally. You'll have someone who's got a really good sense of humor who can like crack the team up and really just like bring them back from the dead when the team's down. Maybe they're not playing well. And sometimes just like a little joke just helps everyone reset, feel lighter, and just like get back on track with some positive energy. There's lots of different ways to be a leader. And, another one is, hey, when there's a new player, or say you're a high level player on the team, can you be that teacher mentor to other players? I learned so much stuff from my teammates, so much over the years. And that was because I had teammates who their leadership style here and there was they're there to help other players. Like, show me how to do this. How do you throw your changeup? Show me how to be better at holding runners. Show me how you do your pregame stuff, right? And I played that role too because I was a certified strength coach. I was often the person like helping someone if they asked, if they wanted, on like how to do better arm care, how to do better sprint drills, how to do better, pick better workouts in the weight room. Like that was one of my areas of expertise. So help your players understand that they can be leaders in their own way without changing who they are. And when they feel like they can be leaders, they take a really deep ownership in the team, and that benefits every single player, top to bottom. My next one is accountability. If you want to have a great team culture, you have to preach. Again, coaches, you have to reward and model accountability, but players need to know that they are going to be accountable to themselves, to their coaches, and to their teammates. When no, that was I didn't make that mistake. Like, that was her fault. That was his fault. Like, when players just pass the buck down the line and refuse to take responsibility for their failures, for their screw ups, for their errors, their mistakes, the whole team culture suffers. So as a coach, you have to lead. Sometimes you're going to make mistakes as a coach. Can you say, hey, look, I shouldn't have sent that runner from third. That one's on me. I'm sorry. I'll let you all down. I'm here to learn and grow just the same as you are, but that one's on me, right? That shows accountability. And when adults do that, especially for young people, it's huge. Because then if they admire you as a coach, when they see adults that they admire doing hard things like apologizing, taking responsibility, all those things, that helps create better humans as they grow up, right? They need to see adults take accountability and be responsible for their actions. So again, coaches, you have to model and reward this. And players, they need to police themselves on this too. But no one likes someone who refuses to be wrong, who refuses to admit when they've screwed up. And look, hey, we all are here trying our best. Sometimes we make mistakes. Sometimes it costs us a game. Hey, I'm sorry, I'm going to learn from this. I'm going to be better. Like, let's win tomorrow, right? That's the goal. But you have to preach a culture of accountability for your team to really become great. My final two things. Number one, autonomy and giving players space. Autonomy is super important in helping players feel the sense of belonging and feeling really bought into their team. And this can just mean like, hey, giving players some more independence at practice. Like, hey, we're going to give 15 minutes at the end of practice. You can work on anything you want to work on. You want to get some extra tee work. You want to take some extra ground balls. We're going to have 15 minutes of garbage time where you can do anything you want to do, right? We just have this extra bit of time. That's what I call garbage time. And it's yours. Do whatever you want with it. Or, hey, we have 5 stations today. I picked out 4. Team, I want you to pick out the 5th station. Or, hey, I'm just going to float around as coach. And players, you are all responsible for, flipping the soft toss at this station. You're responsible for hitting ground balls to our infielders, right? Coaches don't have to be the only person that can hit a ground ball or a fly ball, right? Deputize your players and give them some independence and some stake in how a practice is run, right? And also ask for feedback, right? How did you like practice today? What could we do better? What does the team need right now? Do we need a fun day? Do we need like an easier day today? It's really hot. Should we do something different? Ask your players for feedback. They'll tell you. They know what they need, right? And a lot of times they'll be like, we need more ground balls. Like, we need more catching drills. Like, we need to get better at this stuff. They'll know the same as you do, right? So involve your players, ask them. They're much better at this than we give them credit for, as far as like helping practices run and stay on task. So make that a part of your culture. Give players some autonomy, some independence, deputize them to be like a bunch of little mini coaches. And my last tip here for creating a great winning softball culture is to loop the parents in. Parents are going to be culture keepers just the same as everyone else. You have an amazing culture in the dugout and on the field, but your parents are screaming at umpires, screaming at each other, berating the girls when they make a mistake. Things are going to fall apart, right? You've got to loop the parents in, and you have to explain what you're doing. You have to explain your mission, your core values. You have to explain all this and have the parents be another torch keeper, just like the players and just like you and the coaching staff. So if you have a bunch of great parents who understand, yep, this is what I want for my kid, and I love that they're taking accountability, that they have some independence at practice, that they're going to be positive and encouraging to each other, and that they're going to work hard, that they've established, parents are going to be bought into this. You just have to explain it and make sure you bring them in just like everyone else. Because what you want is parents who are allies. And when you have parents who are allies, they're going to do so much to make your experience really positive, both as a coach and as a team. They're going to try to find new players next year when you maybe need someone. They're going to be your biggest fans and evangelists. They're going to continue to give you resources, and they're going to give you a break. They're going to understand that you're human, that you make mistakes. They're not going to be on you all the time. They're going to view you just like anyone else, and they're going to respect you and give you the same benefits of the team culture that you would give to your players, that your players are expected to give to each other, right? So when you as a coach have humility, take accountability, are positive and encouraging, and are helping these parents helping their kids grow and become better humans and better softball players, parents are going to be, cheering you on in doing that task. So make sure you loop parents in. It's a really important part of your team culture. All right, so I hope this video was helpful. Team culture is super important. At the end of the day, that's how you give kids a great youth sports experience. And if you want your softball players to come back next year, to sign up again, to have fun, and to keep working hard, a great team culture is going to give you all those things. So hopefully today's video gave you some jumping off points and some ideas, and then make it your own, make it fun, and make it purposeful. That's the big thing that you want, because youth sports are finite, and whether you're coaching your kid or just a team or whatever, we all have to hang up the cleats one day and the whistle. So make sure you enjoy it and try to do things the right way from the get-go. All right. Thanks for watching. Be sure to leave a comment or a discussion point below. Share this with a friend. Subscribe if you hadn't, and I'll see you here in the next video.